What's going on, everybody? Let me introduce Shemi, my new dual-wielding rogue elf assassin. I'm going to call this a ninja build because it leans heavily on stealth for offense and defense. All the synergy flows from stealth with this particular build. And rather than give you the uber overpowered level 20 endgame version of this, I figured we'd go 5 levels at a time, just like we did with the warrior build. And, you know, show you the lumps that I took along the way, because all the struggles early on with the characters, right? Okay, now at level 5, starting with flank attack, I definitely upgraded that early, because not only does it allow you to cover ground, but when you hit with it, you get a free stealth, and I cannot overstate the importance of that with this build. And then Twin Fangs, because you can not only knock, you know, smaller enemies down and stuff, just like you could with Shadow Strike, but you can also cover ground with it. It gives it more of a Dragon Age 2 combat feel, which I think is very cool. It is your poor man's Assassinate, or Death Blow, basically. And then with stealth itself, that's like the first skill I upgraded, and I'll show you why. But this is not only like the basic primary element of this build, right? A lot of the damage and critical buffs and stuff are going to come off of this, but it's also your escapability, your defense, you know, lots of things. And not only that, but you can also shed status effects like slow and burning and stuff by going into stealth. With my tank, it's pretty simple. Just favorite Warcry, favorite challenge, maybe shield wall, and let them be tanky and draw the attention to themselves, especially important if you're playing a squishy rogue. Okay, with archers, I have them favorite long shot for 2 reasons. One is it's effective. I mean, it's a cool skill. It can hit multiple enemies a lot of times. But also, it naturally has the AI put your rogues where you want them to be, which is way over there somewhere, away from the mobs. Get out of our hair, get out of our business, shoot your little arrows and stuff from that mountaintop over there, right? We don't need you in the middle of this, right? And most of the time, the AI will naturally do that because it will try to maximize on long shots effectiveness by keeping at a distance. More, you know, the farther away you are, the more damage you do. And it seems to naturally do that. I think that's really cool. Okay? And then the mages, they need a favorite barrier. They need to favorite barrier and keep the tank on his or her feet. That's like their primary job. Okay, now notice here, I have everybody's mana and stamina reserve set to 0. Okay, because I don't need them having any reserves. That's just for when you want to switch to that character if you want to have a certain amount of mana always available for a particular spell. Well, that leaves the rest of that mana pool unavailable for your character the rest of the time, or for that party member the rest of the time to do their job. So what I do is I give them their entire pool to work with. If I need them to do something, if I switch to them, I may have to wait a couple seconds to pop off, I don't know, a Dispel on a Fade Rift or something like that. But other than that, I just let them do their thing. And the stuff I don't want them spamming, like stupid caltrops, Dispel, you know, on their own, just throwing Dispel on everything, whether it needs it or not. I deactivate that so they're not using that, and so that they'll have the mana and the cooldowns available for the stuff they need to be doing, which is primarily barrier, right? And as long as you don't give your mages 1,000 offensive spells to use, all right, then they're gonna always have that spell or two and their barrier and the mana available to cast it. Don't ask them to do too many different things. You can ask them to do a lot of one good thing, but very, very little of many things, all right? That's why a lot of times mages don't seem to be doing their job, is they don't have the resources, all right? All right, so here at the very beginning, what I did was I had a choice to make, and I said, you know, rather than get another offensive ability right here at the very, you know, I'm fixing to go fight the Pride Demon, you know, like take flank attack stuff, which I know I'm going to take later. But for right now, I'm not going to be a one-shot assassin at the moment. I'm probably going to have to hit a stupid shade 8 times in the back with Twin Fangs to really do anything. But stealth can keep me alive long enough to hit this little Fade Rift thing and get this Pride Demon on his knees, which is exactly why I picked that. Okay, and also, here you also get the opportunity to set all your behaviors. So when I did this, all right, like I was saying earlier, I set everybody to 0. Now check this out, okay? My character can follow whoever I'm controlling. That's fine. But when it comes to my other party members, what I want them to do with their behaviors, okay, I want Cassandra to go where I point her. In other words, I say, go hit that, and she goes and hits that, right? So she needs to follow me. But this is a little different from my warrior build, is I have absolutely everyone else following Cassandra's lead instead of mine. Now, whoever I tell her to go hit, everybody needs to hit that. So I say, Cassandra, go hit that. Everybody else will follow in suit, and they'll hit whatever she's hitting on. And my mages should keep barrier on her, right? And everyone should support her while I stay invisible and run around going stabbity and killing everything that's worried about Cassandra right now. And as long as she's spamming Warcry and Challenge and I'm staying invisible, I should be shedding the hate, and it should be going straight to Cassandra and staying off of me, and also, just as important, my mages. Now, if that makes sense, you know, it's actually been working, I can say that. So it is justified in actual practice. Okay, now here I can set my own abilities, but with Cassandra, all right, we can go to favorite, all right, and these are the things that I want her to do all the time. Right? Payback strike can be active, that's fine, whatever, right? But their particular job, what I've actually assigned them to do, the role they need to play in the party, that's what I put a star next to. And what I don't want them ever doing on their own, I put an X next to that, and I deactivate it completely. If I need to use it, I'll assign it to a hotkey, one of the action buttons, and then I can switch to them. Like I say, throw a Dispel on a Fade Rift, or something like that, or a mage who's got just this ridiculous barrier up or something. Hit them with that, but then go back to my character and go back to, you know, doing my thing. And this allows for a no-pause gameplay where you don't have to stay in the tactics all the time and try to get everyone to do what they're supposed to be doing. They'll do it on their own. And they really will. They're really good about it. The AI is actually pretty cool in this game when you gear it right, when you give everybody the right instructions. All right. So now, as far as survivability goes, especially early on, keeping in mind that everything really stems off of stealth with this character, not just offense, but also defense, okay? This is your survivability. It's not so much taking a bunch of hits, right? Instead of leaning towards really high armor and really high constitution and blah, blah, blah and whatever, you know, lean towards just not getting hit in the first place. That's really been the key to playing a rogue in all the Dragon Age installments, is just not getting hit at all as a rogue. Keeping the attention off your mages. Letting your tank be so damn tanky that he's friggin' indestructible. And then going like that, right? And so, to stay alive, really stay away from that stupid whip. You can't take but one or two of those hits, all right? Be ready to hit that Fade Rift as early and as often as possible. And every other time you do, this is going to happen. These shades are going to spawn, and notice I can go into stealth and get them off of me. As soon as they concentrate on someone else, I can get them behind them, take them out of the way. I really need to get them out of the way because they can stun you, stagger you, and hold you long enough for Mr. Whippy there to come over there and take you out of the game. Sure, anyone who's had a problem with this has experienced that, probably more than once, okay? But as long as you can do this, right, and it does take a good full 5 or 6 seconds at least to activate that, you can get him on his knees, and essentially that's just another stage of this fight. You're going to have to hit this Fade Rift a certain number of times, maybe less on lower difficulties, but with Nightmare here, you're going to have to do it at least, I don't know, 4 times, right? So you're going to have to fight those shades at least twice. Right, so be ready for that. And it's the ability to, I didn't really even have to revive my teammates there. There's some NPCs around here also that will draw his attention if you're not. If you're invisible and somebody shoots him with an arrow, he's going to go look for who shot him with the arrow. While you're invisible, you're not going to draw any hate or any aggro while you're invisible, right? But you will. These shades will come after you. They'll run by 3 people to come after you during this fight, okay? So keeping that in mind, having the stealth available for that, to get out of trouble. Once you get the hate off of you, those shades will go worry about someone else. Notice they're all over there somewhere, I don't know, molesting Varric, it looks like. Okay, and that gives me time to do this. And I haven't drawn any extra hate with this Pride Demon, so he doesn't think to look at me next. He goes on to look at whoever shot him last. All right, so anyway, like I say, it goes in stages here. Knock him down a certain number of times. This Fade Rift is essentially what actually does the damage to him. You know, knocks down that ridiculous, indestructible guard shield that he puts up and all that other nonsense. And what it asks you to do is stay alive for, I don't know, 20, 30 seconds, a minute or whatever, between waves, right, where you can actually hit the Fade Rift and do this right here. And then there you go. And eventually it'll give you one final trigger to close the damn thing. Not so much different than the Fade Rifts you find in the game, where you get a certain number of waves before you can actually rip the thing down like I'm doing right here. Nice. All right. And so on the same difficulty, if you come to Crossroads, I've heard people complain that Crossroads are annoying, and they are, because they throw a little everything at you. Mages, archers, the heavy, tanky tower shield Templars, and, you know, all this other crap. And they're almost indestructible. The archers two-shot you. The mages throw down the ice mines, which sometimes one-shot you. And, you know, blah, blah, blah. And knowing their attack patterns helps a little bit, right? But this was maybe the easiest time I had playing this rogue, because you essentially, if they're looking at you, go stealth. As soon as they look away, stab them in the back, you know, type of thing. And having flank attack or backstab available is really handy because it allows you to zip through ice mines. They take a half second or a second to trigger, right? See, about a second. Once you step on them, you get a minute to get off of them, but if you're in the middle of doing things, they're going to go off on you like they did right there. All right, but you can go into stealth and get that status effect off you, all right? And then the backstab, with it upgraded, you get a free stealth. Now, at some point, there's going to be so many buffs and perks for being in stealth and coming out of stealth. Armor penetration, extra critical chance, extra damage, you name it, all right? That having an extra stealth available to you, right? Doubling up your stealth means you can stay invisible almost all the time. You see what I'm saying? All right? And go in for an extra attack. Now, I want to throw in like a little formula, for example, and this is what I'm thinking, and this would be real easy to do, because it's one thing to say, hey, this works really well. It's another thing to incorporate it into your playstyle where it's comfortable and comes natural. There's some things which I see people do, and I'll say, I don't know if I had ever thought of that or not, but that's just something I can't do. That doesn't fit into the way I like to play. You're doing this, this, and this, but you're sacrificing like 4 or 5 things that I love to do all the time. Being flippy, jumping around, doing this and doing that. And you may have only a certain number of skills allotted to you to use. You know, what are you going to focus on? What are you going to actually do in your play style? And so sometimes, you know, I have to factor in what's fun and what comes natural along with what works, right? And so I was thinking, you know, with this build right here, kind of looking at the end from the beginning, having a plan before you get started. All right. I was thinking, what if you did something like this? Say, once you get your assassinate ability, and you can get like throwing knives, right? You can get extra critical damage and chance and all that. Everything you do while you're in stealth is automatically critical, and all this other stuff buffed in there, right? And say I go into stealth, right? No, let's say I hit an enemy with marked for death. Then I go into stealth. Then I hit him with throwing knives, right? I come out of stealth as soon as I do that. Then I flank attack and I backstab. As soon as I hit them, I'm in stealth again, right? Then I twin fangs, coming out of stealth, right? Then I trigger my marked for death and get double damage on everything I just did while marked for death was active, you know? And there's no exploits or anything like that right there. That's just a pattern of ass kicking comes with the game. So keeping that in mind, synergy. How does everything play with everything else, right? So that's my build up to level 5. And when I get to level 10, we'll go from there. I'll share that with you guys. All right. Thanks for watching. If you want to subscribe, click that button over my head. Till later, I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.